Hello everyone. So couple of days away from Christmas, exactly 5 days from Christmas. So we have something lovely going on in the oven that we're going to explain to you in a bit. So what a year. Busy. We've been to Top Dog this afternoon. Lovey, can you tell us a bit about that?
Okay. Since we dropped off the first order last week and Tuesday, the owner was away for a bit. He only came back, I think, Sunday or yesterday or so. So we did pop by and ask him how it went and how it's going and what's the feedback of the people. He said that the people love the sauces on the food. They love the taste. They actually want to buy the bottles. So that's going great. We're always happy to hear that. It's a positive feedback. It just proves and it adds to your motivation on why we are doing what we are doing. We have a quality product. So yeah, that's always a nice feeling to have. Then we have some feedback on Pick n Pay.
So on Pick n Pay, everything is going very well with Pick n Pay. Was a big struggle to get in there, but that's been done. So on that note, I hope that all our followers on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram had the opportunity to run by Pick n Pay at Lifetime Square in Rustenburg, of course, just to have a look at the product and maybe purchase a couple of bottles. We really need you guys' support. We really want to grow with Pick n Pay, so the sooner we can sell all of the stock we deliver to them out and get another order, that will be awesome. So run by there, grab yourself a bottle. We have a video on Facebook that explains the sources in detail. We'll add that description and link below so you guys can have a look at that video. A short 5-minute video is not going to take a lot of your time, but it explains what the source is all about. And then what we're going to do for the rest of this year, my love?
Well, we are basically still going to go ahead with the promotion at Hyper Butchery. But only until this Friday, which is then the 24th of December. Then we are going to take a bit of a break as well, spend some time with the family, have the whole festive experience, and then we will take it from there. I know the last year we took a holiday break of 2 weeks. Yes, that did prove to be difficult at the end. All the places that had our stock, we did stock them up fully, but it didn't last long. So this year we decided that we are still going to take a break, but not so much that we can't supply if we should. So yeah, that's about that.
Okay, and then just before you think this is the last video for this year, we still have another one coming for you guys next week, Monday. We are going to discuss what is happening next year, in Jan, Feb for next year. Big things going to happen. We're also very excited for next year. I hope you guys are also very excited with us. And then please, if you guys want to, if you just check on the bottom of this video is a link that says subscribe. If you can just click on the link, subscribe to all of our content and put on the notifications, you can be briefed every time that we're going to put up a video. So you can also not only get our recipes, but to follow our adventure. Remember that we started the video so that you guys can have an insight to our drive for the next 4 years, what we're going to do, all the plans and all of that. But I'm not going to bore you guys with all of that. I want to pop into the kitchen quickly to carry on with our Christmas meal. So stay tuned for that recipe, and that's also a very, very, very nice, good idea for you guys for Christmas. Okay, so stay tuned. Afternoon, guys. So we are a couple of days away. I think it's 5 days away from Christmas, and we thought best to do a nice beef roast for you. So at Hyper Butchery, you can actually go and tell them what you want. So this was a normal beef roast on the shelf, and I told them, please take this roast for me and just wrap it with bacon and put it on this little sock that I have. And so they did. So this is excellent. And then with the roast, we're also going to do a couple of drumsticks. Normally with Christmas you have a couple of meats, so we're not going to go through all the different types. I'm just going to do the beef roast and going to do chicken drumsticks. So we'll get to that. So for the ingredients for the roast, I'm going to use cherries, salt, sugar. This is for the chicken, so there's already mixed spices for that. We're not going into the detail for the chicken today. And we've got smoked paprika and we've got brandy. This is lekker brandy, and we've got our Hoyer's barbecue sauce that we're also going to use on the outside, and we're going to mix that with a little bit of this Mrs. Ball's chutney. Also very nice product. So let's start. First thing that we're going to do is, this is the roast that we have here is a salted beef roast. So there's already a bit of salt in there. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to start with injecting the roast with a sauce. Very basic sauce that I make myself. So we're going to take 100 ml of brandy. We're going to add that to the pot. Let's cool that down a bit. Now we've got basically a teaspoon of salt. Add that to the mixture. And then we've got 2.5 tablespoons of sugar. And then we've got another teaspoon of smoked paprika. We're going to add all of that. So that's what we're going to do for our sauce. Not a lot of spice. We just want the brandy to go inside there. I'm just going to mix this up quickly. So this is our sauce that we're going to use. So this is about 100 ml of brandy. It's not, I didn't cook it, so it didn't boil. I just basically dissolved the salt and sugar in it. So it's not hot, I can hold it. You don't want it to go too hot, otherwise all the alcohol evaporates. So I'm just going to cut open our roast here quickly. So there we go. I peeled off the plastic on our roast. I'm going to start injecting our sauce. And you don't need to use all of it, because we're also going to use brandy for our sauce that we're going to put over the roast with the cherries. So we're going to do a cherry brandy sauce that we're going to throw over the roast as soon as it's done and finished in the oven. So just for a heads up, we're going to have this in the oven for basically 2 hours. So you just want to do this all around, squirt at a time. Okay, here's our roast. I did inject it with the full 100 ml of brandy sauce that we made. And now we're going to cover it with a bit of spice. So this is our barbecue sauce. So here's about a 50 ml I put in there. And I'm also going to put about 25 ml of chutney. Gonna mix that nice up. Because it's a Christmas meal, you would want a bit of sweetness on the outside. I'm just going to take this, put it over here, and spread it nicely. All over. You don't need to cover the whole surface of the meat, because you're going to close it with the foil. So all the spices are going to cook around and the sauce is going to flow all around. Everything nice and tidy. I'll close this up. This one covers the whole thing basically, and this one just covering halfway around to the top. Pull it close. And now we're going to pop it in the oven. Okay, so by putting it in the oven, you can see I have this round dish and I put in a bit of water. So that we do it like that because as soon as you put it in the oven, the oven is going to heat this up and all this moisture is going to go into the oven. So just to prevent some of the evaporation in the roast, we put in water there, so that also adds to the moisture in the oven. So all the moisture doesn't come from the roast. So in a matter of fact, it contains a bit of moisture in your roast. So that doesn't go out into the oven and dry the whole thing out. So we're just going to place that there. And then we're going to leave it in the oven for 140 for 2 hours. Okay, so our roast is in the oven now for an hour. I'm going to start with my chicken because that doesn't need to be in the oven so long. So this is our mixed herbs that we mixed. I'm just going to add that to our chicken. Just like that. You want to spice it enough. Remember, this is the only spice going onto the chicken. So you want to put it thoroughly and decent over everything. Let me pop that into the oven. Okay, now we're going to start with the sauce that we're going to put over the roast. As soon as we have the roast out of the oven, we're going to cut it into slices and we're going to put a nice sauce over it. So that's what we're going to do now. So by that, I'm just going to start quickly. So we're not going to use a lot of brandy, you just need a taste. So I'm going to put in 50 ml of brandy. And we're going to do 100 ml of water. So that puts our moisture up to 150. Going to add that into this bucket here. I'm going to add the 2.5 teaspoons of 2.5 spoons.
Tablespoons.
2 tablespoons of sugar. And there's my cherries that I'm also going to use. I'm just going to cut them in halves. So let me do that quickly. Okay, then we've got cherry tomatoes. I'm also just going to slice them in half. Now I've got about 20 of each here, 20 cherries, 20 cherry tomatoes. That's just, okay, the cherry is going to add a bit of flavor, but the tomatoes just to add some moisture to our sauce and also to add a bit of color. And that's why we also put a bit of smoked paprika in the roast when we injected it. It's also for color for the meat, and then of course the taste of the smoked paprika is marvelous. So that's it. Let me just finish this quickly. So there's our mixture with the cherries, cherry tomatoes, sugar, brandy and water. So I'm just going to add that to our pot. And this you want to bring up to a nice boil. You want all of the brandy alcohol to evaporate. The brandy that was in the roast also evaporated in the oven. So this you want to bring up to a nice boil. So all your sugar melts and all the cherries, all the flavors comes out of there, and the tomatoes add to the moisture and color and all of that. So this you want to bring up to a nice boil. Have them in here for about 10 minutes. So this is actually going to become like a type of a chutney, cherry tomato chutney. But we're not going to add vinegar, otherwise it is a chutney. So we're just going to skip that part, but it's going to be like a nice cherry tomato glaze that we throw over the roast as soon as it gets out of the oven. So you can see we had this in the pot now on high heat for about 5 minutes. You can see the tomatoes cooked nice. It's a nice shiny glaze effect to it. So what we're going to do now is going to add a bit of our Warriors barbecue sauce. That's about 35 ml. Just going to stir it a bit, and then we're going to remove it so that it can cool down. We don't want it to get too sticky, otherwise it's not going to be a sauce, it's going to be a toffee. So there we are, with a little bit of herbs added, and that's going to be perfect for our roast. So here we go, roast out of the oven. been there for 2 hours. Look at all of that sauces. So what we want to do is we want to keep that. So I'm just gonna get in there, pick it up, and I'm gonna get a dish quickly. So there we all are with all the sauces. So I'm just gonna take the sauces and get it out there. So I'll put it here on the bottom because we're not gonna use that now. Can take that out. Okay, so there's our roast. See, it needs a bit of color. Scoot right through. So what we're gonna do now is just gonna pop it back in the oven on a higher heat. So you can just give it a nice color, and then it's coming back, and then we'll start cutting it up. There you go, guys, out of the oven, 2.5 hours. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna cut off this sock quickly. So we get that off, then we can unravel the whole thing. There we go. What you want to do is cut the top part. Let me do that quickly. So our sock is off. What we're going to do now is start cutting our roast. Our first slice is not going to be too thick. Perfectly cooked. Look at the needle went in there. Give it all the goodness in there. So now we're not going to do too thin slices. It's about 1 centimeter thick. There's our whole roast. So what we're going to do is we're going to start packing it into our plate. All the slices together. I'm going to show you what we do piece by piece. Okay, here's our roast perfectly packed into the plate. We've got our chicken here. We're going to add to the plate, and we've got our parsley. So what you want to do is you're going to cut your parsley in pieces, not small pieces, and we're going to lift our roast, and we're just going to decorate a bit. So let me do the rest. So I did add the parsley between the slices, and what you want to do now is kind of bring in this chicken breast here,
Drumstick.
of the drumsticks, and just want to put them all over. So now all our drumsticks nicely placed on the side, and for the finale we're going to add our brandy, cherry and tomato sauce, the Christmas theme, all over, just like that. And look how pretty that is. That is the best roast you'll ever have. And we can add a bit on the side here. Sorry for that, it's our baby cat asking for lunch.
No, he's being a bully.
Oh, being a bully with the other cats. We're gonna do a family introduction probably next week.
Yeah.
With all our pets and so forth. So we add all the sauce to the roast. And just look at it. Pretty as can be. Salted beef roast with drumsticks, ready for Christmas. Guys, then the last thing, we're doing this recipe so that you guys can use it, try it and enjoy it. We don't do it just for showing you guys we can cook. We want you guys to also cook. So please go and watch the videos, follow the recipes and enjoy them.